All right. Let's get it. Let's get this going. Oh, crap. I forgot to do something. Shoot. My copy trader. Ah, come on. All right. See what's going on the hourly chart? Still in this hourly downtrend. Got some lows down there. This high kind of took out this high. Now going down, failed to make a higher, failed to take out this high up here. So a lower high pretty much got put into place. So still on this pretty big downtrend. Not yet quite shifted to the upside. 15-minute chart. Oh, actually, do we get any gaps down there? Gap wise, not really any gaps on the hourly chart. 15-minute chart, no, not really anything here either. Kind of rolling over here, failed to hold this high up here, so kind of going lower until we find some support. I'll go now to the 5-minute. We'll wait for this 5-minute range, pretty much right below that, right below the 200 on the 5-minute. Kind of wait to see. Got a couple minutes till that 5-minute candle, till this 5-minute candle closes and gives us more of an idea what we want to do here today. It's always a good idea to stay out of the market for the first at least 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes. You get this chop, you get this wiki price action. When you look right now on the 5-minute, right, price kind of dropped all the way down there, then it ripped up all the way up there, and imagine how many people just got stopped out and wicked out just because of the choppiness in the first 5 minutes. So we're kind of pushing above the view up right now. Pushing above view up, so we'll just kind of wait this out and see. Got 1 minute left till this 5-minute candle. Wow. Starting to rip to the upside. Just get my drawing tool out real quick. Mark out this low. Pretty much that low is already pretty much set. So there's that 5-minute low. Now, let's see. Once this, 30 seconds left for the 5-minute. That view up is pretty much right in the middle of that 5-minute range, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. All right. Testing view up. I can pretty much draw out this top of this. There it is. All right. We got that 5-minute set, so we'll go to the 1 minute and see what's going on. So if you notice on the 5-minute, right, we are kind of just pushed above that 200. On the 1 minute, we're right tapping that 200. So, like I said, if I get a setup, I take it. It's going to be the first 1 minute candle to close outside this 5-minute range if this thing closes out. We got about 7 seconds. 5. Alright, so there's that first closure outside the 5-minute range. Now, we'll see if we can get momentum to step back in, sellers to step back in and possibly maybe take out a high and close back inside this 5-minute range. Once we close back inside this 5-minute range, kind of leaving in mind a bearish imbalance, I would be interested in a potential short. Don't copy me. This is not financial advice. If I do take a trade. So the two ideas, right? Either we kind of break back inside this range and we can kind of break back inside this range and fill the opposite side of the range, or we displace above this range and kind of hold this range as support. Once we kind of displace above the range and then price retraces to hold the top of this 5-minute range as support to continue going up, I mean, it's pretty much a wraps from there if we kind of hold this range. That would be another strategy that that I would use, but as of now, I gotta still buy those accounts. Actually, I gotta check two things real quick before. First of all, do we have any news today? We haven't had news in a while, even though the government shutdown has pretty much ended. Today we have, no news. Some FOMC members speaking, but that's about it. Next thing, Apex. How long is their sale going on for? All right, Apex. Oh, what the heck? Apex's sale. Oh, they just revamped their website. What the hell? Come on. Apex. Whatever. I was going to see how long Apex's sale is going on for. I really want to buy one more account too. I want to trade this other strategy. I got to make sure I buy an account before the sale ends. But I don't know if something's wrong with Apex's website. I can't log on. Probably overloaded or something. Everyone's blowing their accounts in the first 5 minutes. Yesterday said 6 days. All right, I appreciate it. 6 days. Yeah, because their website, I don't know. I can't. It just keeps loading. It won't open up their website. But whatever. 6 days. All right. Whoa! What was that? Wow. What the heck was that? All right, so you can see we're testing that top of the 5-minute range. You see how price keeps testing it over and over again. We got that wick inside the range and then immediate push back up and close back outside that range. So we keep testing that top of the range as support. So buyers still trying to hold it up here. It'll start to look ugly if we break back inside this range and kind of like with enough momentum to leave a gap. Then that's a kind of not going to be good for the buyers. Right now, buyers are still in control as long as we hold it outside this range. Who knows, we may be going for these highs. There's a couple highs up here that we may be going for before we, you know. We'll see. We're kind of holding this, to be honest, as support. So we kind of displaced above. This could be a structure change to the upside. We could get a pretty decent sized move if it starts ripping to the upside. Because you got to think about, right? We kept making higher lows, right? We made a high, a lower high, lower high, lower high. lower high, lower high. Finally, we broke out of this high. Now, on the hourly chart, we're holding kind of this high as support right now. As long as we hold this high as support and we start displacing above that 730 area and we start ripping, we could see a decent sized move to the upside, possibly. But it is kind of starting to change structure. Man, we'll see. Alright, we took out this first internal, kind of this previous high up here. We just took it out, see what happens here. If we get sellers to step in, or this thing displaces above. It's gonna be a sweep, or is this gonna be a displacement above it? I'm telling you, this 5-minute range says a lot. You could kind of see, right? When we broke, said we were waiting to see what happens when we break outside this range. We broke outside the range and held it as support, which is a sign that we're gonna keep going up, possibly. Seeing what happens at this high. Let's see, 5-minute chart. We do have, now we have a gap on the 5-minute chart starting to form, depending on how this 5-minute candle closes. We do have a gap down there. We're pushing up to this kind of high up here on the 5-minute chart. We just took out this high. I think Nvidia is going to keep going up. I have no idea. I mean, Nvidia is a pretty strong stock. But, I mean, I'm sure it'll have pullbacks, but yeah, I mean, we're looking like we could get a pretty decent sized move today. I mean, you look on the hourly chart, you kind of see what's going on here. Like I said, if we hold that 5-minute range, we could possibly start displacing. I mean, we have a lot of levels to take out. I mean, this thing could rip. You see the structure is changing, right? Look on the hourly chart. We got a high, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And then finally we break out of this first. We break out, we displace above it, we open up today, and now we're holding it as support. Right? Now we're holding this high as support. Possibly now, this is the first sign of a change in the structure of it stopping from going down. Also, right, it failed to make a lower low. So we had this low put in place, failed to make a lower low. We displaced above here, we held this, and then we held this support as support. Now we're continuing to go up. So, I mean, it makes sense why it's ripping to the upside. I gotta get honest. I gotta buy those other accounts from Apex to be able to trade the move above the range, because these accounts kind of are. The strategy is for it to break back inside the range for this strategy. I gotta buy more accounts to trade the other strategy when it's outside the range, like this, like right now. Now you kind of play the outside the range move. You just go with the momentum. You can possibly wait for a pullback and backtest a strategy that will allow you to spot a pullback, enter a pullback, whether it's like an IFEG strategy or whether it's just a gap, like just a retracement to a fair value gap, retracement to maybe a high like here. Like maybe somebody would wait for price to kind of retrace and retest these highs up here. But you kind of want to have a strategy that you can backtest and prove that you can spot and execute day after day that's profitable. Which again, I'm going to buy more accounts, but I have to do the backtesting. I just have not had time to do the proper backtesting for this strategy to be able to. So, five days, 14 hours left. Okay, so that's, what does that make it? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it ends Monday, right? I assume. In 5 days. I like how Apex makes their sale go on into the weekend. Like they purposely do it so that you technically do have less days to trade it because it goes into the weekend. Nobody's really trading during the weekend, so that's 2 days already. That's, you know, you can't trade. But if it, all right, so if it ends Monday, I gotta make sure I do the back testing this weekend for it, so that Monday I can buy the account and on Monday and then kind of trade that account when I don't have a setup for this strategy. I'd like to keep different accounts for different strategies. I don't want to mix up, you know. I could technically trade another strategy with these accounts, but I don't want to mix up my data. So, all right, give me a second. I'll be back. All right. All right, let's see. Bro, honestly, I think you could find so many strategies just off of this kind of principle of this 5-minute range. Right? Two things usually happen. If you pay attention, when the market opens up, two things will happen, right? Either once this 5-minute range is formed, and go back and do the back testing on this. Once this 5-minute range is formed, two things happen. Either we break outside the 5-minute range and then we push back into the range, possibly going to the opposite side of the range, or we break outside the range and then displace above it to the point where we hold that top of the 5-minute range now as support. So either we break outside and then close back in the range, possibly going to the opposite side of the range, or we break outside the range, displace, and then we kind of rip it and hold that 5-minute range as support. So pretty interesting. I feel like you can make so many strategies just off of this like principle of this 5-minute range. Like, look at what happened today. We broke outside the range, we pulled back, we held this gap right here, right? And we're continuing to go up, right? Look what happened yesterday. Let me go back to yesterday. All right. This was yesterday. This is the 5-minute range for yesterday. Look what happened yesterday. Right? We formed the range. We broke outside the range. Right? Look at this. We broke outside the range. We tried to push back inside the range. We kind of failed to hold and then failed to get a gap inside. Failed to hold. Broke back outside the range. And look what happened. We held that range as resistance. And we just kind of like trended lower. Pretty much. And then look, pushed back up, kind of held this range as resistance, hovered above this range, and then displaced back below. And then finally, look, broke back inside the range, held that as support, and then continuing to go up. Bro, I'm telling you, that 5-minute range is a powerful thing to use. And today, too, broke outside the range, held it as support, continued. I just have to find a way to have certain criteria, right? If I do the displacement above type of strategy, I have to look for certain criteria. Like, I need A, B, and C. I need clear set of rules to enter a trade, not just like, all right, we're breaking outside the range, so let me buy, you know? Either we break outside and try to maybe long on the first fair value gap type of thing. Like, if you would have technically caught this right here, where we break outside the range, we pull back into this gap, hold it as support, you know, and kind of target a 1-to-1 with your stops below the lows, you would have to have your stop below the lows. That's the thing with this kind of account. If you take this kind of setup, I would have to have my stop below the lows. So depending on, you know, do you target a certain level? Do you target just a 1-to-1? Again, I would just have to do the back testing on that. But I told you, once if we displace and hold this 5-minute range of support, we have so much room to the upside. This thing can rip for the rest of the day. To be honest with you, it could rip for the rest of the day. I mean, this was the first we made a low kind of, we made a high, and then we broke out of that high, and now we held that high as support, which is a confirmation that this trend is changing now. So that is what I'm testing. Price breaks up or down and wait for the pullback. Exactly, yeah. I mean, but back test it. Look at that 5-minute range and back test it, bruh. It is a powerful thing. And I think you can center like so many strategies outside this principle of, you know, either like my first strategy, right? I look for a break back inside the range. That's just the strategy. So that's why I wanna back test and figure out a strategy to use once it does this and it kind of starts to displace. Maybe even a breakout. Maybe even, you know, I'll have to just back test it. Maybe you kind of displace above it, you kind of pull back, and then maybe if you break outside the high of the pullback, then maybe you take this breakout trade with a stop below the previous low. I mean, there's so many ways you could take this type of setup. I just have to back test it, and I'm gonna do that this weekend. I need to do that this week. I was supposed to do it last weekend, but I didn't end up doing it. So the sale ends on Monday, so I'm gonna be buying probably a couple of accounts before the sale ends, and you know, seeing how far I could take this strategy. So I can kind of have the first strategy just in case we get like a choppy market where it's not displacing. So either way, I can, if I can develop a strategy out of this, I can pretty much, you know, because let's face it, this strategy that I use, it works good. It works good, but it happens maybe once or twice a week. So that's the only downside of this, the first strategy that I use. It works good, but it only happens once or twice a week. It's happened once Monday. So we got to set up on Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. Got to set up on Tuesday. And you can kind of play both directions. You're kind of just watching what price does and reacting off price does. You don't really care. If it breaks back inside the range, you have a strategy for that. If it displaces above the range, you have a strategy for that. You ever trade silver futures? I started dabbling last week just to see what people say. Just why people say not to do it. No, I've never done silver futures. I know a lot of people are doing gold for some reason right now. Gold has been freaking... I don't know why so many people are getting into gold. I guess because of the volatility. I'm a big proponent of just sticking to one thing. Stick to one thing and, you know how it moves and you could trade it so much better. I mean, I've been trading NASDAQ for probably like 2 or 3 years. I used to trade ES, and then I kind of switched to NASDAQ, and I just like the way NASDAQ moves. It's pretty, like, it's more volatile, but if you get a good setup, I mean, NASDAQ moves every single day pretty much. So it moves really well. So if you find a indice or whatever that moves really well, I don't think there's a reason to try to chase other things. You want to keep your system as simple as possible, to not have to chase other, gold and silver and this and that. It's like, I don't know how gold moves, but I do know how NASDAQ moves, so it gives me a little bit of an edge because I've been watching it for so long. It's a nice uptrend. I mean, the only time opportunity you got to really buy this uptrend is the pullback onto the 5 minute. That's the only time you would have had to buy this. Once it displaced in this gap right here, pretty much displaced above, retested this gap, and retested that 5 minute range, and then that was the rip to the upside. Holy rip. And this is a type of strategy. If you figure out this kind of break and retest of this 5 minute range, you can go pretty far with this in terms of, like, maybe have a take profit and then scale 50% or scale half and then leave runners. Because imagine if you would have, kind of scaled 90% on a 1-to-1 and just left a couple runners, and then you could have capitalized on so much more money just by leaving a runner. But again, that I have to backtest that, because sometimes it's not always, depending on the strategy, it's not always good to leave runners. Depends on the strategy. And you got to be careful with runners too when you trade Apex and these kind of firm accounts, because right, you have the trailing drawdown. There's trailing drawdown. So when you leave runners, you have to make sure to trail that drawdown too, because last thing you want is for a runner to run all the way up and then get a nasty pullback, and then that trailing drawdown can affect you. So it all comes down to backtesting. If you find something that you like, oh, this is interesting, I wonder how this, just go back and backtest it in the past 2 months, at least 2 months, and kind of see every day how it worked. And I like manual backtesting. I don't like the backtesting programs and stuff. I like manual backtesting because you can spot certain things, right? Because when you're backtesting, you start to realize, all right, what I realize is we retest this 5 minute range, or we pull back to a gap, or when we displace, this happens. And you'll spot patterns when you're manually backtesting, versus when you're doing like backtesting on a software, you can't spot those certain things that you could spot when you're manually backtesting. But no pullback. I mean, I figured this thing could happen. I said before before this move, I said we could get a pretty big move to the upside, considering the way price was setting itself up down here on the hourly chart. When we kind of, the first sign was that structure change. Once we kind of failed to make a new low, and then we displaced above this internal high here, and then once we held that high as support, I mean, it's pretty much, look how much room now we have to the upside. Once we confirm that we're going up and we're holding this high as support, and you can see how the structure is changing to the upside. So, is what it is. Bro, this thing is like no pullback. This thing is just ripping. That's crazy. On demo, hit 1500 TP yesterday and today using this strategy. Of course, needs more testing. Nice, nice. Nice, yeah. Be very database driven. Be very database driven. Make sure if you take a loss, make sure to journal and freaking go into that loss and make sure you figure out why you took that loss. And sometimes a loss is just a loss, right? You did everything correctly, but it was just a loss. Figure out if you could have done anything better. Could you have possibly, done something to prevent that loss? Was there a red flag that you didn't notice? Been trading for 2 months and already super confident in my moves because of you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think the major key to being a very good trader is being very data driven. Be data driven, have rules for your trading and stick to those rules. That's it. And that's one way you can improve, because now you have data, you have rules, and then if you lose a trade, if something happens, you can go back and figure out why you lost. Figure out your data. I keep a track on, things as small as, the losing streaks I go on. How many losing trades do I take on an average, with this strategy? And then once you improve as a trader, you kind of find one strategy, and then you kind of, know how to trade it, and then you just go to others. You can try to find other strategies, have more accounts with different strategies, and I mean, you can scale up that way too. It does suck, like this first strategy, it does suck that I don't take trades every single day that's why I'm trying to figure out this other breakout strategy. Just, kind of this breakout strategy. I can figure out a strategy, and then I can take other trades, so I'm not just, I really don't need more strategies. It's like, this strategy has been profitable for me. It's at like an 80-something% win rate. But you have to be super patient, like super patient. You get like 1 to 2 setups a week on average, sometimes more, but yeah. Yeah, I'm trading NASDAQ. Yeah. But yeah, don't copy my trades. Trust me, it doesn't work. I'm not just saying that to it doesn't work when you copy someone. First of all, when you copy someone, you're not learning. And second of all, you don't know the risk I take. Meaning if you copy my trade and I take a losing trade, I can go on a certain losing streak and I'm fine. Versus someone else copying me can blow up their account, or they don't know, because I have averaging down rules, right? If I go on a certain losing streak, I will size down to protect myself. So trust me when I tell you this. I'm just trying to save you heartache and trying to save you accounts. It doesn't work when you copy someone. Not just for me. It doesn't work for anyone. If it were that simple, right? It's not that simple though. Plus, there's a delay in the stream, too, so. I don't have to live trade. I live trade to try to help people out. If I can help someone out and kind of, shorten their learning curve just by sharing what I've been through. If I can shorten your learning curve by a year because you're not making stupid mistakes, that's already a dub for me. And I'm kind of Are you in a long? No, I'm not in a long. Can you show the chart at 9:35? Yeah. So pretty much what happened this morning so far was we had this 5-minute range set, broke outside the range, held it as a support, and now pretty much the rest is history. And I mean, I don't know where you would have caught a long. If you didn't catch a long pretty much for the pullback to the top of this 5-minute range as support, I mean, this thing has no pullbacks. Look at this. It hasn't had a pullback at all. There's one candle pullback and then complete rip to the upside again. What platform? Ninja Trader. Why'd you sit out? Because it wasn't my strategy. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to develop a strategy. My initial strategy is a strategy that breaks out. It's called a breakout. It's called a it's like pretty much a breakout break-in strategy. So it's a strategy I kind of made up. I mean, I developed myself. I mean, I'm not saying nobody else uses it, but I didn't find this strategy from anyone else. I kind of developed it myself just from pattern recognition. But it works well for me, but it doesn't happen every day. And pretty much for the first strategy I look for these accounts is a break out of the range and then a break back into the range, leaving behind a gap to fill the opposite side of the range. So obviously, like today, that doesn't happen every day. So I'm trying to develop another strategy. So when the first strategy doesn't work, when we get days like this where we displace above the range, that I can have other accounts that I kind of take the range above. Try to take a setup when it uses the range as support, the top or bottom, whatever, as resistance. But I'm going to be doing back testing this weekend to try to figure out a strategy. I mean, there's so many ways you can play this, right? You can play a pullback into a gap. You can play a breakout when it pullbacks and then it breaks out of a high. You can take that. I would just have to do the back testing and see which one works the best. Which one has the highest win rate, which one has the highest, But I will be buying more accounts. Probably 2 or 3 accounts I'm going to buy and then try to use this strategy. And any strategy you kind of use, you have to have a set of rules to keep yourself in check. Like, regardless of what the rules are, you have to have a set of rules that are defined enough to be able to miss a day of trading, come back at the end of the day and tell me exactly where you would have gotten long, where you would have gotten short, exactly everything. Oh, crap. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll be back. All right. This upcoming downtrend is going to be a great one. We're ripping to the upside today. I mean, I don't know if we could. I mean, this could pull back nasty. I mean, we have not had a pullback at all. So this thing could have a nasty pullback. If you missed it, don't chase it. Don't freaking chase it. It's like very shallow pullbacks. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything. I'm going to be hopping off at 10:30 today. It's like it's a thing that I think a lot of new traders go through. It's, it's especially when you start, when people start trading, like you have, and this is me speaking from experience, I had the same thing. Like you have this like itch to trade, especially when you just start trading. You're fired up about trading. You're learning about it. You're like, you're super obsessed with about it, and you get to this level in trading, especially as a newbie, where you're just constantly chasing. You're like, chasing every single move, just no rules, no nothing, just kind of winging it. I guess, I don't know if it's something everyone has to go through, but it's like a stage in life where you're just so obsessed with it. As a newbie, you can't hop into the charts and walk away without taking a trade. It's like almost impossible for a newbie. Like it's like they feel like if you don't take a trade, then you're not productive. But the better you get at trading, the more experienced you get to a level where you understand that not trading is a position in and of itself. Like, I am protecting myself. I don't need to take trades every single day. I wait for good setups. That's the difference between profitable traders and unprofitable traders. Profitable traders have a very systematic based strategy, right? They're very rule based in their strategy. They can walk away without taking a trade because they understand that they just wait for the good setups. They wait for their strategy. When it happens, they take it. And that's all that could be done. While everyone else is chasing every single trade, losing money, making money, losing money, making money. And here I am. I could take 2 trades a week, be up. And especially with these accounts, right? When you scale up accounts and you're making an average of $2,600 per trade, right? You can technically take 1 trade a week and still make like $10,000 a month. And that's a very slow growth. That's like a slow month, taking 1 trade a week. So why chase? What's the point? And that's the sad part, is in social media, you'll see it. You'll see it often where people put on trades just to be entertaining. That's it. They're not putting on trades to actually, because it's their system. It's like, you ask a bunch of these, why'd you take the trade? Well, I mean, we're breaking out of this high and I feel like it's going to go up. All right, you feel like it's going to go up. Have you back tested it? No, I just feel like it's going to go up. We know we're breaking out of a high. So it's like, bro, if you're, to be honest with you, right? If you're trading and you don't have a set of rules, you don't have a solid strategy, you follow A, B, C, you don't know where your entry point is, you don't have a very defined rules, you're pretty much just wasting time, because you're not learning from your mistakes when you don't have rules. That's the sad part, is you're not learning from your mistakes, so you're just gonna keep making the same mistakes and you're stuck in the same position and not improving. I took a fat loss on my eval instead of my practice account. Yeah, sized in way. Why? It's just sized in way too heavy. In every trade you get into, right, you got to understand that you don't know. Statistically, you don't know if that's going to be a losing trade. You can have like me, right, have a 80% win rate, which is a pretty high win rate. But guess what? I still don't know what trade is going to be a losing trade, what trade is going to be a winning trade. I have no idea. I've had C setups. I've had like low quality setups turn into winning trades, and then good quality setups turn into losing trades. I don't know. So me saying that, what I'm getting at is, anytime you put risk on the table, anytime you take a trade, already have it in your mind that this could be a losing trade. Being okay with pretty much just like, you go into the trade pretty much accepting that could be a loss already. and understanding that statistically you don't know. You could take a loss, doesn't mean the strategy is bad, it's just statistics. Nobody has 100% win rate. It doesn't matter how good of a trader you are, what kind of system you have, there's no such thing as 100% win rate. So in that case, statistically, you're going to take losses. You don't know which loss is going to be which. So you don't want to oversize and put yourself in a position where you take a loss and then your loss is so big and now you're taking a week to make back, profits, which I don't get. Like, I don't think it should ever take you more than one trade to make back a loss, because your win rate should be around a 1-to-1. At least a 1-to-1 risk to reward, at least. Sometimes it could be a little negative. It is what it is if you take, if you're taking specific levels. If it's a little negative, it's fine if you have a high win rate. But you should never put yourself in a position where this loss can wipe away a week's worth of profits. Never put yourself in that position. It's not worth it. Even if you make money, it's not worth it. Because sooner or later, there's going to be a loss that's going to wipe everything out. And then you're going to get emotional, and that's another spiral downhill that people go through. Bro, we're not getting any pullbacks. Bro, no pullbacks. And I see this a lot. I see this so much. And even like people, what shocks me, and people that have been trading for years do it, where it's like, They'll go on a streak, and then out of nowhere, one losing day, they go on tilt or something, and then they wipe away like weeks worth of profits. Like, that's crazy. You're telling me you just worked like 2 weeks of grinding and being patient just to give everything back in one day? Like, bruh, that's not sustainable. Like, that's really not. And that's why you need to have rules for yourself on how many trades you take per day. Have rules for yourself. I don't take more than 3 trades a day. I don't take more than 2 trades a day. And based on the amount of trades you allow yourself to take per day, you got to risk, right? Somebody taking maximum 1 trade per day, somebody that has a rule that I don't take more than 1 trade per day, can risk more on that day versus a person that allows themselves a possibility of 3 trades per day. Or 2 trades per day. If I have a rule, I only take 1 trade a day max, I can potentially risk $400 in 1 trade versus somebody who allows themselves 2 trades. Maybe he, drops that risk to $200 per trade because he takes maximum of 2 trades. But always have rules to keep yourself from tilt, and just follow them. That's it. Rules are there to protect you. It's not there to hinder you. It's there to protect your capital, because a big part of trading is playing defense. It's not taking trades. It's how good are you at sitting on your hands. It's a big reason also why it's so hard for so many people to get profitable, is because they don't know how to sit on their hands. They don't know how to just be patient for their strategy. And it's hard for me to understand now, because it's like, I look at it as, if you have a strategy that you've backtested and is profitable, why not just follow that system? Just follow that set of rules that you've backtested and you've seen is profitable. Why not just stick to that? Why have to chase other things and try to mix up and try to chase strategy to strategy and always strategy hop and this and that? Like, bro, just be patient. That's it. Sitting on your hands, like the famous quote Warren Buffett said, is the market is just, it takes away money from impatient people and it redistributes it to patient people. So the patient people make money and the impatient people just keep losing money. Yeah, NASDAQ's pretty bullish today. And here's another good rule of thumb. Anytime we're above view up, we're generally bullish. On the day, and this is meaning just on the daily time frame. Anytime we're above view up, we're in bullish territory. Anytime we're below view up, we're in bearish territory. That should also kind of look out when you're taking a trade. For example, I'm not saying you can't take a short above VWAP. You can, but understand that you are in bullish territory. If you do take a short, understand that you kind of are going against momentum. So keep your take profits in mind that you are going against momentum. Versus if you're taking a long above VWAP, well, you're kind of going with momentum. And all depends on, your strategy. Sometimes, for example, my strategy Sometimes I long below VWAP, but I understand that I'm below VWAP, and when I do take a long, I'm careful where I am. If I'm above VWAP, it gives me a little more confidence that I'm going with momentum today, so I can potentially kind of maybe extend my take profits a little bit. How many years have I been trading? So full-time, I've been trading for full-time for 3 years, meaning in full-time, I mean every single day I've been coming into the markets, and pretty much from 9:30 to like 11 o'clock, 11:30, I've been trading every day on the markets. That's what I consider full-time. Before that, I was learning a lot about trading. I became obsessed with trading before I even knew trading. I didn't even think trading, like, back then, it wasn't really a thing that people, like, back when I started really learning about trading, you had to fund a live account. There was no prop firms. So I never thought that it could actually be a possibility that you could trade for a living. I never knew that that could be a possibility. Because back then you needed, right, to do it for a living, you needed a bunch of money. You needed a crazy big account to actually do it for a living. Now it's like with these prop firms and all this, like it's very accessible now. It's way more accessible. So, but before that, I was learning a lot about it. I mean, we're talking probably 6 years ago. I was learning about it, but not really like taking it seriously, not trying to learn a strategy. It's kind of like dabbling in it for fun. So not really taking it, but 3 years taking it seriously and actually trying to find a strategy and learn it. So I would say 3 years pretty much. What you suspect it will end of trading day will stay up on any news? Yeah, there's no news today. I mean, we're pretty bullish. I think we're just gonna continue trending upward. But see, the thing is, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, once I hop off, I'm gonna hop off in like 8 minutes. I'm gonna hop off in 8 minutes. Once I hop off, I don't care what the market does. The market could go up, go down. Trump could say something. We could have a flash crash. I don't care what the market does. Once I hop off the charts, I'm done. I don't look at the market anymore. I'm flat. I don't hold trades while I walk away. So, but you can even look on an hourly chart. I mean, we're pretty bullish on an hourly chart now. We are coming up to this now. Even though we are pretty bullish, the closer we come up to this kind of pivot point up here, we're in the 200, I mean, we could start to reject. At some point, we're going to get a reversal, right? Now, how deep that reversal is going to be, you don't know. But at some point, we're going to get a reversal. Possibly, maybe all the way back down, test this as support. Test this high as support like we did over here. Like we tested this high as support. When we broke out of it, tested as support, ripped above it. Maybe we have a pullback, possibly in the middle of this range, or test this as support, this high. I mean, there's so many things that could happen, but understand, you know, at some point, we're going to get a pullback. This thing is not just going to keep going up forever. It's going to have a pullback at some point. You could already see, right, it kind of stalling out. It's kind of going sideways. It doesn't have the momentum that it had before. And obviously, I mean, people are going to take profits. People are going to start. Yeah. Yeah, and it's very easy to stay disciplined when you have a set of rules. That's it. That's pretty much what, you know, people talk about trading psychology and all this. Like, trading psychology is important, but if you don't have a set of rules in your trading and you don't have a defined set of rules to enter a trade, to exit a trade, trading psychology means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. Like, if I didn't have a set of rules, I would be trading emotionally. Why? Is because I wouldn't have a set of rules, so I would be like trying to chase everything. I would be right now, I would be sitting here and going, man, I guarantee you there are traders right now sitting on the charts going, crap, should I short this right now? Oh my gosh, this thing looks like it's stalling out. Maybe I should short it right now. And then somebody else is going, maybe I should buy it right now. I don't know, maybe it pulls back to maybe the pivot point. I should buy it right now. Those are people who don't have a set of rules. If you're sitting there contemplating whether you should take a trade here or not take a trade, you don't have a set of rules. Because if you had a set of rules, my set of rules tells me I should not take a trade right here. Right? Why? Because this isn't my strategy. It's like I have not back tested this right here. So this would be just taking a trade blindly. So when you have a set of rules, you stay out of all the noise. You get like laser focused on that specific setup. And all the noise, all these little uptrends, pullbacks, whatever happens, all these other setups that happen are just like you're blinded to it. You're just focused on your own setup and what you know works for you. That's it. You don't care about any other things that happen in the market. And you're just laser focused on your setup. If you get it, you take it. Right? And if you don't get it, guess what? You don't take it and you walk away. This is a thing that's lost in the trading space, and a lot of traders teach about this, but you don't see a lot of traders do it in principle. Why? Because it's not entertaining, right? Is discipline. We talk about discipline, right? Every trading guru, whatever, talks about discipline. You have to be disciplined in your trading. You have to be disciplined. Everyone talks about it, but then that same person that says you have to be disciplined is taking trades left and right. He's getting out of a trade, he's losing money, then he's hopping back into the a trade again, and he's like, it's like, well, what happened to you what happened to you preaching about being disciplined, and all of a sudden you're taking a trade every 5 minutes, 10 minutes? I highly doubt you're getting a setup every 10 minutes. So it's like, if there's anything you could take away from my trading is, yeah, I'm like, let's face it, I don't take a trade every day, but I'm disciplined. That's part of the reason why I can have an 80% win rate, 83% win rate. And that's a really good win rate in day. Like, not many traders out there have an 80% win rate or above. Part of the reason I have an 80% win rate is because there are weeks where I take 1 trade a week. I take 2 trades a week. Like, that discipline in sticking to your strategy is what keeps your win rate up. But guess what will happen if I start taking stupid trades? If I start taking dumb trades, guess what happens to my win rate? It starts dropping because I start taking stupid losses, unnecessary losses. Like, even my strategy, I guarantee you, I can give people my strategy and tell them, hey, listen, this strategy has worked for me. Like, it has personally worked for me. I've passed accounts with this strategy. I've got put into funded accounts with this strategy, right? This strategy has worked for me. People still will not be able to follow it because this strategy requires a lot of discipline, like a lot. And so, sadly, people don't have that. People can't sit on their hands, and that's just a part of trading. If you can't come into the market and not take a trade, that's a big red flag. That's not good. And I understand, like, and I don't know if there are, like, unless you're a scalper or something, like, there's a lot of strategies that don't get setups every day. And if you're gonna force things, it's. How do you feel on people taking 5 trades at the same time? Yeah, it's too much. I mean, I don't think 5 trades at this. You gotta only take trades based on your strategy. I highly doubt you're getting 5 different strategies at the same time. Like, that's an elite level trader if he has like 5 different strategies. But like, when you just first start trading, you should be sticking to one setup, one strategy, one setup. And then once you hammer down that strategy, you can start moving to different strategies and building other strategies. But don't strategy hop. Don't try to, like, oh, this went through a little bit of a losing streak, or I'm not getting setups like I used to. All right, let me hop to another strategy. Like, become a master. Find a strategy and become literally a master at that strategy. And then you can try to look for other strategies. Do you have long-term investments or retirement accounts? No, I don't. My long-term investments are cars. I have a car. I have one car that I hold as an investment. It's kind of like It's like a classic car. It's been going up in value, and I kind of hold that as an investment. But I don't have any investments in the S&P 500 or long-term holds. I'm just not at that level yet. I mean, it's once I reach a level in my trading where I just like I'm making a good amount of money, like a large sum of money, to where I just don't know how to like, I have more money than I need, and I start thinking about, all right, maybe I should put this in some investment accounts, some maybe the NASDAQ, maybe some Bitcoin or whatever, some longer. That's actually something that happens to a lot of traders, like a lot of day traders too. They'll start day trading, they'll start making some good money, they'll have success in day trading, and then eventually a lot of people do shift into that like more investment based swing type of strategy. And especially I feel like when you get good at day trading, like what's the difference? Like swing trading is going to be even easier for me to do, because swing trading is just a longer term. It's literally doing the same thing I'm doing right now, but just on a higher time frame. So you would just do on a higher time frame, and you would enter a position that you're holding for. But personally, to be honest, fully transparent, I don't like to swing trade, because unless it's investment accounts, because I'm just like, I'm constantly thinking about it. Oh, crap. Hold on, give me a second. Have you made a trade yet? No, I didn't. I didn't get it set up today. Long or shorting NQ? I'm not. Personally, I'm hopping off in like. I'm actually hopping off in a couple minutes. So I'm not. There's nothing for me to take here. So. And when I say there's nothing for me to take here, it's mean there's no setup that I've back tested and I know is profitable. Like, could I just hypothetically hop into a long and catch 20 points and make money? Yeah, I could, but I don't take anything that I have not back tested. There's a thing to take away from today, right? It's like, I don't take any kind of setups unless I've back tested that setup and I know it is profitable. That's it. Other than that, I'm not taking a setup. So as of now, that sits. There's nothing here. There's nothing here that I've back tested. A setup that I've back tested and I know is profitable. But, and we're just chopping sideways as of now. I mean, may have a pullback coming up soon, but yeah, and that's what's awesome about trading, right? I don't have to sit here all day. Listen, I'm up on the week. So far, I'm up 1,700 on the week. So, I don't need to force something. Right? If I take, and that was even sized down. If I get at least, one more, if I get at least one more setup, all I need is one more setup this week. One more good setup this week, and I'll be up like 4,300 on the week. One more setup is all it takes for me. Also, I'm 13 trades away. And this is my, I am literally 13 trades away from taking a $20,000 payout. So that's also why I'm super disciplined. I know people come on like, this dude never trades. No, I trade. I'm just super patient with I'm super patient, and I just wait for my setup, because that's always in the back of my mind. Whenever if anytime I get impatient, or I want to take a trade and I want to try to, in the back of my mind, I just take a step back and go, listen, calm down, wait for your setup. You're 13 trades away from potentially a $20,000 payout, so don't force something. Because that 13 trades can turn into 14, 15, 16 trades pretty fast if you take dumb trades. So yeah. For those of you who don't know, Apex is having one of their biggest sales. 80% off, $40 activation fees. That's literally, honestly, the best sale I've ever seen Apex have. That is a better sale than when Apex had 90% off. It's probably one of the best deals in the industry right now, to be honest with you. Because it's like, you could technically get a $50,000 account 1 day to pass. It's like what, 33? So you could technically get a funded account for like $70 right now per account. So one of the best deals in the industry right now. So look into that if that's something you are waiting to buy, is some accounts. I appreciate the support. If you use my code, I do earn affiliate commissions from them. I appreciate the support. That's just one way that you can support me. I don't sell a course. I don't have a Discord. I don't sell a course. I just hop on. Like, I don't even need to do these lives. I hop on also for myself because it does help me. I mean, it is. I find it fun. But if I can help somebody else out, in their trading, whether it's giving them advice on anything, and obviously this stream is not financial advice, but if I can help you out in any way by sharing my experience, what I had to go through in trading, just by sharing my experience, and if it can help you out, that's already a win for me in my book. Even if I, come in and I don't take a trade, if I help somebody out, maybe people look at me when they trade and they see discipline. They see what it takes being a real trader, the discipline it takes. Not just a bunch of these influencer traders that just are always hopping in and out of trades just for entertainment purposes. So that being said, all right, I'm gonna hop off. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll go day by day, slowly but surely. I'm gonna stay patient and slowly but surely get to that 20K payout by being patient. So that being said, y'all have a wonderful day. Stay patient, stay disciplined. Only take your setups, don't overtrade. Where do you recommend someone trying to learn about day trading? If you're serious about learning how to day trade, you become obsessed with it. Become obsessed with it, and that's kind of how I learned. I became obsessed with it. For me, like, failure was not an option for me. I was going to learn how to do this. And your goal is to last as long as you can, because when you're learning, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to blow accounts. So when you're learning, make sure you're investing as little money as possible. Ideally, just trade a sim account with a brokerage. Don't invest any type of money. Find a strategy. Become obsessed with finding a strategy. Find it, back test it, forward test it, and just go from there. But I honestly feel like in order to be a truly successful trader, it does take a certain level, and it's a balance between obsession and discipline. Obsession to learn about it, and then really crazy discipline to follow the rules after you've back tested something to be profitable. That's how it works. So discipline is one of the biggest parts in trading. And but yeah, when you're learning, invest as little money as possible. Do not buy someone's Discord. Don't buy any kind of course. I mean, there's so much free content on YouTube. This is a long-term game, right? This is a long-term game. Be obsessed, learn from YouTube, watch other people's videos, learn other different types of strategies, try to find a strategy what works for you, then back test it to make sure that strategy works, then forward test it to make sure you can actually execute it, and then just go from there. Ideally, all that's taking place on a simulated account. And then the more you do this, I mean, and learn from your mistakes. Constantly figure out what you're doing wrong. Learn from your mistakes. Be data driven. Be a very data driven trader. Keep track of your data. How many losing streaks do you go on? How many, if you do take a loss, did you take a loss? Was it just part of the statistics? It was just a normal loss. Did you do something wrong? Always analyze your data like a hawk, and then just keep going from there, trying to improve. That's what separates you from the 90% that constantly fail. The 90% that constantly fail do not learn from their mistakes. They keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, right? It's the definition of insanity. Expecting different results, right? Continuously doing the same thing but expecting different results. I mean, that's the definition of insanity. So, you continuously making the same stupid mistakes expecting to be a profitable trader, you're insane. Like, that's all that could be said about it. So learn from your mistakes. Do not be that trader that, is doing it for 15 years and still isn't profitable. Like, don't be that trader. So yeah. I'm gonna hop off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back at 9:30. So stop by. I'll be here. Other than that, peace out. Have a good day. And yeah, I'll see you